This is The Top, where I interview entrepreneurs who are number one or number two in their industry in terms of revenue or customer base. You'll learn how much revenue they're making, what their marketing funnel looks like, and how many customers they have.
I'm now at $20,000 per talk.
5 and 6 million.
He is hell-bent on global domination.
We just broke our 100,000 units sold mark.
And I'm your host, Nathan Latka.
I just finished traveling Southeast Asia for 41 days, and I usually always get sick when I travel, and quite frankly, eating is difficult for me. It's hard to find a restaurant, and I'm spoiled in Austin with my personal chef. Well, I took these little packets with me this time, 30 of them, in my carry-on suitcase. They kept me totally healthy with 11 different secret ingredients. You can see them at nathanlatka.com/juice. I'll tell you more later on in the show. That's nathanlatka.com/juice.
This is episode 647. Coming up tomorrow morning, you're going to learn from Peter Aronson of Bailu, which lets Mexicans safely drink tap water for $150. See how he does it.
Good morning, guys. My guest this morning is Alex Mayer. He is the founder of Zoosk, which filed to go public in 2014, did hundreds of millions in revenue. We'll talk about that. But more importantly, his current venture is called MentorBox, a kind of a unique new self-help concept. Before all of that, he was an aerospace scientist at NASA. A lot of ground to cover. Alex, are you ready to take us to the top?
Ready. Thanks for having me.
You bet. Okay, so before we get to MentorBox and kind of this new business, let's talk about Zoosk briefly. So you decide to file to go public in 2014. I think the prior year did what, 180 million bucks in revenue. Is that accurate?
Yeah, 200 actually.
200. So yeah. Why make the decision to go public? And then we'll talk about why that ultimately didn't work out instead of going and selling to a guy, like Barry at IAC.
Yeah, so I mean, we had very high ambitions, and one of the things that we really cared about was staying independent, so that we could execute on the mission of the company. I'm being bought by a company like IAC, obviously, that was not a preferred choice for us. So that's the main reason we wanted to stay independent, basically.
Got it. And then take us through what happened there. So you filed for the IPO, you had big ambitions, and ultimately you canceled it in December that year. What happened?
So again, your audience is probably familiar. When you go public, you make projections about the growth rate and what you want to do financially on a quarter-by-quarter basis. So we went through those motions, and end of the day, we decided that in order to run a sustainable, long-term, profitable company, what we wanted to do and what the public market expected from, frankly, other tech companies that were going public were different. So, for example, as one example, we didn't want to, push the company too hard on delivering, massive quarter-over-quarter growth. That is something that we cared about, but not as much at the time, and most importantly, not at the expense of other metrics that matter to us. So we decided it was just basically not a fit, so we decided to pull back.
And it would be remiss not to talk about kind of how you grew that business. It's not every day you talk to someone kind of in the dating space that's grown a $200 million business. What year did you launch that company in?
We launched that company end of 2007, early 2008.
Okay, and you say we. Did you have co-founders?
Yes, I had a co-founder, yes.
Okay, what did you guys do, just 50-50, or did you figure out a different way to split equity?
Oh, no, the two of us, we were 50-50 on everything.
Got it. So when you guys disagreed, a lot of people that listen to the show, they're in the same situation, and then they disagree down the line. How do you resolve a disagreement without tying up the company in a tie?
It's funny, I get that question. I've gotten that question so many times. It never got ugly. Like, we worked together for 7 or 8 years, and we are massively different personalities. My co-founder Shayan is more of an engineer. I am more of a creative business person. But what happened is basically, I think the key to us being able to work together was we kind of had different sort of like domain expertise, and we respected each other's domain expertise. So we deferred to the other person. It was business strategy versus, an engineering call. Both of us knew about the other domain, but we knew that also the other person is better at that particular field. So, that's how we work together. It worked very well.
Good. And then to get us into MentorBox, we have to first talk about how you exited Zoosk. So you personally, what happened? How'd you get out of Zoosk?
So one of the things that, sure. So we brought in a new CEO. Actually, she was at the time a CFO and COO of the company. And the direction that the company had to go at that moment of time was we had grown it really rapidly, all the way into 2014, but the company was not profitable. How
much did you lose on 200 million top line?
Not a lot. Like it was, I want to say maybe 10 million.
Okay, that's not too much.
Information. Yeah, it's public information. You guys can look it up. I can't remember, but it wasn't that bad. But the option was to continue to drive the company very aggressively, or kind of like retrench a little bit and pay attention to some of the things that, as we were growing, we decided not to put that much attention to. So to retrench, fix those, build a better base, and grow again. And that's something that we decided that, the CEO that we appointed, she was better at. So, and me and my co-founder, we've been running the company for 7 years or something. So
Alex, so how did you, how did you financially engineer a return for yourself? Did you sell your stock back to the company? Do you still have the equity? How did you engineer the financial side?
Oh yeah, I still have the equity, and I'm on the board of the company, and the company is an independent company, is profitable, and is growing again. So exactly the plan that we had,
And cash flow positive?
Yes.
That's great. That's great. And what are you guys at now? I mean, I think in 2014 you were at about 650,000 kind of paying customers. What are you at now?
Well, no, I don't think we were 600. 500 something customers. We are at the same level, if not slightly above, I think. It's just
sorry. Just to be clear, my source on this. So the company has 27. I'm reading right here out of a journal entry from your S1. It has 27 million members, of which 650,000 were paying subscribers. That's where I got that number from, your S1.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it depends on the definition of subscriber also. So maybe the definition, I can't remember. Honestly, it was 2 years ago, and I can't tell you the exact number right now. But I can tell you that the company basically retrenched a little bit and now is growing again.
Great. So. That's great. Okay, let's fast forward. So you're still on the board, but you're not active. It's not taking up your time on a daily basis. You decide to create MentorBox. Tell us what MentorBox does and what's the revenue model. How does it make money?
Yeah, so it's a self-education. I call it a self-education, self-improvement education box. And it's kind of the first time that I've actually built a business around a passion. So I've always been a book reader all my life, and I'm the guy that when I go out with my friends or we go, on vacations and stuff, I'm the guy with a book in the corner.
Saying, don't bug me.
Yeah. So, and then there are about, I always tell my friends that there are about 200 books that any human being should read. And I gifted my books to my friends all the time, but I always notice that people don't read them. And I also learned that part of it is because about 10% of population, their primary method of learning is reading. There are 4 methods of learning: auditory, visual, reading, and kinesthetic, meaning learning by doing. And about 40% are visual auditory learners, 50% are kinesthetic learners, 10% are readers. So I expected my friends, so I happen to be a reader, and I expected my friends to actually do the same, be readers. And that's not true for everybody. So the idea was pretty simple. I was like, well, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a subscription service where we basically take 2 amazing books that I think everybody should read every month, and we basically make the information concise, total study time 10 minutes a day, so no excuses that we don't have time. And I would deliver it in 4 formats: visual, auditory, on a flash drive in the box, a 1-page summary, which is reading, and then we develop these booklets which is basically kinesthetic learning, kinesthetic memorization, which we tell people, the main point of the book, and then we ask them a question to apply it to a personal life and write down. And that act, there's a lot of research on that, 200% improvement in retention and all that. So
and Alex, you keep, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but I think so. I think folks understand kind of what the product is. Talk to us kind of about the business formation, because you've seen a lot, so you kind of know what works. You keep using the word "we" again. Do you have co-founders in this one or no?
Yes, yeah, I have a co-founder. Tai Lopez is my co-founder on this one.
And how did you guys meet?
That interesting story actually goes back to why we started this company. So many years ago, I want to say 7 years ago, Tai and I met at an online dating conference. Believe it or not, there is an online dating conference. We were on a panel, and I really liked the way he was thinking. We were talking after the panel, and I had basically walked through my life, and I'd never met anybody who had read as many books as I had. And it turned out that Tai reads one book a day. So that's how we became friends over books. We were talking about books for years, and we've been friends. I used to drive to LA to hang out with him all the time. And we never intended to start a business together. But as we had this idea, I had this idea in my mind. I talked to him. It was a slightly different version. And he talked about, well, let's concentrate on this. And, then we ran a test. And the test worked. And we said,
Alex, tell us, first off, did you do the same deal here that you did at Zoosk? You just did 50-50?
Correct, yes. I actually believe equal partnerships.
That's great. And then you said you did a test. Take us through that. So what does the test mean? Is it a landing page? How'd you market it? And what were sales from the test that made you go, wow, this could work?
Yeah, so it's actually exactly that. So I teach entrepreneurs how to do test ideas as cheaply as possible. So I did it myself, obviously. So you create a landing page. You create the idea of the product. You kind of explain what the product is. We had, put together some screenshots of a prototype. It's not that difficult to actually create a prototype of this product. And then you explain the product. We shot a video that explained the product, put it on the landing page. We did 2 tests. He has a large social media following, so he pushed on his social media. And we saw that we created inbound traffic from that, a one-time push. And I also ran. Break down that side of the test though first before we go to what you did. So the one-time push on that. So what did that drive in terms of unique impressions to the landing page? You're asking for the secret sauce now.
Well, no. So, I'm just asking for was a test like what's the sample size? Honestly.
I mean, just to put it in perspective, to show how much demand we were able to create, we did, I think, the first test that we did, the 2 of us, we were able to sell, I think, $80,000 worth of the product in 2 days.
And what's the cost? You didn't tell us that. So how many units is that?
That is, I want to say 800 units.
Okay, so these run about $100, and is it $100 a month or $100 for the year or what?
$89.
Okay, $89 a month. Got it.
Yeah.
And was that more or less than a month ago? Like, in other words, do you know if people are going to stick for month 2, month 3?
It was. This is October.
Okay. And so, what is your retention? I mean, I know you looked at this stuff at Zoosk in terms of activation metrics and stickiness. I'm sure you're doing it at MentorBox. What's the retention rate month over month?
It is. So I won't give you the number, but I can tell you I have not only seen our numbers at Zoosk, but I have looked at other subscription businesses, public companies, because we were looking at comps when we were going public, as well as other startups. Blew my mind how strong this is.
Yeah, but Alex, what does that mean? Give us more or less than 70% retention month over month.
Oh, way more. Than
okay. What is average in the space? I don't know the space, so I'm just uneducated.
So this space, I am hard pressed to actually find a comparable. So if you look at education subscription, it's actually not that much. And I think partly So the answer is I don't know what is that.
But Alex, what is typical when you study the space? Like, do you typically see people retain 80% and you're doing way more than that? Or, I mean, what do you see?
So I tell you, most subscription businesses around this price point would lose 40-50% of their customers on month 1. Month 1 is the highest churn.
Yep.
And that's like 40-50% month 1. So This is way less than that. Yeah.
Got it. So what are you doing things like paid acquisition yet? And if so, have you calculated what you think lifetime value will be so you can back into a CAC number?
Yeah, I think we have already done that. I told Tai, in order for it to become business. So basically right away we knew that it would be kind of like a sustainable business, but we weren't sure how big it can become. And for a company like this to become really big, the paid acquisition, just like you said, should work. And the CAC is, because of very low churn, it turns out to be really high. In other words, and it kind of reflects the education.
Wait, Alex, hold on. Let me try and quantify that though for a second. So you said because your lifetime value is so high. So let's assume that you're retaining more than, let's say you're retaining more than 80% month to month. That's really good, right? At $90 a month, you can assume lifetime value there of say $1,000. And you're saying CAC is high because you might be willing to spend $300 to acquire $1,000 customer. Is that what you mean?
That's exactly what it means. It means that.
So what is your CAC though? What is the number?
It's actually, I can tell you, it's like sub 100. So
okay, that's not horrible. That's not high.
Yeah. No, actually, it's actually dropping even more because another thing that we have been able to do is like a lot of word of mouth marketing, which kind of subsidizes our CAC at this point.
What do you, in terms of costs on this? I mean, this is a physical good. You have shipping, you have the books, you have all that jazz. I mean, what does it cost on average per box?
It's dropping as my volume has increased. I've been able to negotiate better deals. So I have a very healthy gross margin. My target is to be at 50% gross margin. So
you only want to spend, you want to get down to spending just $45 per box. The rest can just be profit.
I mean, there's obviously
gross margin profit.
Yeah, there's cost of customer acquisition and our fixed costs.
Sure.
But yeah, that's what it would look like.
Got it. Last thing I want to touch on here. Ryan Holiday, it looks like I was just looking at your tweets before we did this. You said, I ordered 1,200 more books. They sold so fast. So it sounds, I mean, Ryan's a great author. So what does a deal like that look like? I mean, are you just buying on Amazon a bunch of copies with him and you're saying, Ryan, come shoot a video with us so we can sell a bunch of this? Or how's that relationship work?
It's actually not on Amazon. We buy through distribution. There are bulk book distribution mechanisms or publishers directly, because at the quantity we order, it's not an Amazon buy. We can get better deals from the studios, from the publishers.
I see.
And and part of it is honestly like we are just getting it, and now we have this current box, next box that we're going to ship. We have both authors in. Authors are amazingly receptive of the idea. They really like the idea because
does Ryan get anything though, Alex, outside of just the book sales that you're buying? Like, I mean, do you incentivize him any other way?
No.
Just book sales.
Correct. Yeah.
Got it. How many of Ryan's books have you bought? Is it just the 12 or 1,700?
No, that is on top. So we bought a big quantity of his books, and then
how many?
So that is, I don't want to reveal.
Well, Alex, this will turn other authors onto you, though. By the way, if you say this number, I mean, people are going to go, we need to reach out to Alex and work with him. Was it more or less than 5,000 books?
Oh yeah. So now our first order would be 5,000 at this point. Yeah, our first order. But then,
first order.
But then once we run out, because we don't know how many boxes of each we will sell, because we are also growing, but. We add basically depending on that, then we order as supplementary, like another order on top to Pat. So halfway through the month, we look at our demand and then
So Alex, just to be clear with Ryan, the first order was less than 5,000, right? And you reordered 1,700 on top of that. What you're saying is now to date, your first order size is around 5,000.
Correct. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, dude, you're sitting on a rocket ship. It's going to be fun to watch you guys. Let's wrap up here with the famous 5. You'll love the first question. What's your favorite business book?
How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Number 2. That's good though. Yeah. Is there a CEO you're following or studying right now?
Jeff Bezos. I always look at his stuff.
Number that's a good one. Number 3, is there a favorite online tool you have, like Acuity Scheduling?
I use Trello.
Number 4, how many hours of sleep do you get every night?
I try to do at least 8.
Good. And what's your situation, Alex? Married, single, you have kids?
I'm single.
Okay, single. No kiddos that you know of, right?
No kids. Right.
All right. And how old are you?
I'm 38.
All right. Last question. Take us back 18 years. What do you wish your 20-year-old self knew?
To take more risks.
Take more risks. There you guys have it from Alex, one of the early founders back in 2007 of Zoosk, grew it to hundreds of millions of dollars in sales before filing to take it public, then decided the vision was not aligned, took it back private, now sits on the board, still holds that equity, recently teamed up with Tai Lopez, 50-50 partners in MentorBox.com. That's self-help delivered to you once a month for $89. He's trying to get his costs down to around $45 per month. Their initial test, which Alex is great at running to signify kind of if there's demand or not, drove about 800 units in sales, about 80,000 in actual revenue sales. That was a combination of Tai posting on social and Alex doing his side as well. Alex, thank you for taking us to the top.
Thanks for having me.
If you enjoyed Alex today, go back and listen to Scott yesterday. Scott is the creator of the Marketing Tech Chart. You guys have probably seen it. It gets over 1 million unique views every time it's published. I ask him who he thinks will win the CRM space, which he answers, and he talks about passive monetization. All you content marketers, you won't want to miss this one. It's episode 646, published yesterday.
It would mean the world to me if you guys got any value from this episode, if you would go leave a review on iTunes right now and then subscribe. You know, I hustle like heck to get these episodes out every freaking day for you guys, and trust me, I love it. I would do it with no listeners, but boy, oh boy, it makes my day, and it makes my team's day when we see great reviews and get your feedback. So thanks so much.
Okay, Top Tribe, I love giving away free money. I feel like Oprah giving away cars, and I have something special for you today. How many of you have heard our super sharp guests talk about success they've had with Facebook and Google ads? Well, all of you listening right now, yes, if you're listening, you get $100 in free AdWords. Here's how you get it, okay? Again, thanks for listening. Get the free $100 from Google, right, when you sign up with my website host provider, HostGator. Go sign up now to get your free money. HostGator.com/Nathan. Again, that's HostGator.com/Nathan. So guys, I'm so glad to be back in Austin. I just got back from a major tour of Southeast Asia. Went to Sydney, Bangkok, Bali, and Japan. And, you know, I always get sick when I travel. And this particular trip, my gosh, 15 different airports, 20 different hotels. I mean, imagine flushing in airport bathrooms. I was worried about germs and getting all the nutrition I need. I mean, finding a restaurant in Japan, difficult because nothing's in English. So it's hard enough to figure out the train system. But my point is, I had a guy named Drew Cannoli on the show who said, Nathan, if you're concerned about that, take these little green packets with you. You just mix them once per day with water. They'll keep you super healthy. You get all your nutrients, and they'll keep you from getting sick. So I took them, and guys, they worked unbelievably well. I got no sickness, just mixed them with water once per day. They didn't make my water bottles all sticky. That's like nice. A lot of these mixers, they make them sticky. It was very clean and smooth. Took them once per day, never got sick. So they've got 11 superfoods, and they're perfect if you're not traveling, but you're just on the go from your office to work. So you can check them out at nathanlatka.com/juice. That's nathanlatka.com/juice.